Hello, my name is Nathan Anthony. I'm a solutions architect with Databricks. I wanted to go over a problem that a customer brought to us recently about how to get ingredients off of product images, right? This is a grocery example. So these grocery products have an ingredients list, and from that ingredients list, you can make other classifications, whether or not things are like gluten-free or how processed they are. And we want to be able to pull that off of these images so that they can use them for downstream applications. So what we've done is come up with a quick demo of how to do this in Databricks, right? So we'll be able to take our unstructured images, our pictures of our products. We'll use AI to parse the textual information off the images and store that into a raw table with the raw text. And then we'll create a customized agent to structure that data in a way that can be used for downstream applications so that we can ask questions like what products have peanuts in them, what products have sugar in the top five ingredients within the product and these sort of things. So let's get started. So first we'll come into Databricks. I have a demo catalog or schema created here with nothing in it. We'll quickly create a volume so that we can store our images. I have the images on my computer. I'm just going to upload them. You can see in the UI that we make this really simple to be able to come and upload images into a volume. And a volume is just a pointer to a object storage location. We're using Azure Databricks here, so it's going in Azure Data Lake Storage under the covers. And you can see here now that we have um, these images uploaded. They're not, necessarily the best quality or aligned perfectly, but you can see here that the ingredients are present, as well as in some of the images, nutrition facts, right? So what we want to do is now be able to pull that data, pull that text off the data, off the images, and we'll do that using our AgentBricks. AgentBricks is a mechanism to be able to automate a lot of the most common agentic AI tasks, right? Some of them being described in these activities or bricks that you want to build, being information extraction, the one we're going to use today. You can also create more specialized LLM endpoints for custom tasks. You can create knowledge assistants to help you automate creating chatbots and things like that, as well as a multi-agent supervisor that can bring together information from multiple agents to do more generic reasoning and things. So using the information extraction brick, we're going to, click on use PDFs. This should really be use documents or something like that because we can also use PDFs or images here. But we will select the images volume that I created in my schema. We'll pick that same schema as the destination for a raw items, raw images parsed table that we want to create. So what's happening here is a job is being created, and it's going to parse through all the images that I uploaded to the volume, and it's going to pull the textual information off of it. Right, so we can come and click on that job and look at that. And this job was created with this, with this SQL logic. I didn't create this. This is part of AgentBricks generating this. But we're basically going to take in any of the supported extensions that we support with AgentBricks today, including images. We're going to classify them down into a document that will use the AI parse function to pull out the textual information. This brick does support a few different data types, so we'll process them each in these CTE subqueries, and then we'll combine them all down here at the end. So what happens here is we get the path in the volume for each image. We'll use this as our product ID for now because I don't have other data sets to join this to. But we'll also pull out the raw parse data here into a structured format, and we'll create a text column containing all that data. So you can see this textual data is in all different formats. We need to make this consistent and structured so that we can use it downstream. So now that we have that data in a raw table, we'll come back to AgentBricks and we'll use the same information extraction brick now to build our custom agent. And what this does is what this will do is we'll be able to point this to our schema in this raw table that we created. And once it confirms that there's a column that can be used in AgentBricks, it will quit validating the table, and we'll pick that column being the text column with the unstructured text that we want to put into a structured format. Now, what AgentBricks will do here is now it will try to come and auto-infer the schema based off of a sample, right? This is pretty good. We did get a distributor, any other statements, as well as the ingredients list. But here you can prompt the customized agent to put data in a format that you want, right? So I kind of want the agent to put the ingredients into an array of ingredients and along with the position information. So, another thing that I wanted to make sure in my sample data here, that if there is an ingredient that has sub-classifications in parentheses, I don't want those to be just pulled out based off of comma separation. I want these to be included in the ingredient position. I also gave an example of nutrients. This use case won't need it, but we'll see that it can pull that out, and then we can also show how to remove that from the agent. Clicking the create button here, it will take this sample JSON that I pasted in, and it will start pulling out from the textual column in the raw table the ingredients in the format that I want. And what it will do is, once the agent is deployed as an endpoint under model serving, it will give me the ability to come in, look at 5 samples to see if the response from the agent is meeting my expectations. So I can see here that I've got my ingredients in the list I want. It pulled out nutrient information because it was available. And yeah, so that's good. And then we'll flip through. You can see different formats of input. It's still pulling out that information in the format that I want. So yep, everything looks good here. Like I said, I don't think this use case needs the nutrients, so we're going to get rid of that. And you can see here the ingredients in a distributed by field that we're pulling out right now. Adding new fields is as easy as coming in here and just telling it what you want. So I want to add a field that is going to classify whether or not an item is gluten-free. I can pick a type. I want it to be a Boolean field, and the instruction I want to give is I want this agent to infer false if ingredients likely contain gluten, otherwise true. So that's one example of a simple, tell me a yes or no whether something is true or not. You can also do some more data sub-extraction. So, whether or not the ingredients list contain any known allergens will be what we'll pull out into this field. And we want that to be a string because it's gonna pull out the actual ingredients that are known allergens. And we'll also create a classification called ultra processed, right? This will use the NOAA definition of what is ultra processed, within an ingredients list. And I want it to, ultimately classify the food, whether it's processed or not, as well as tell me why it comes to that conclusion by telling me the ingredients that suggest it's ultra processed, and a summary explaining the classification, right? So now that we have added some fields here just in English, we can update the agent, and it will reprocess our sample data sets to let us see whether or not it's meeting, pulling out the things the way we've asked. So here's the 5 samples. We can look at the full text here and see that, okay, yeah, this General Mills something cereal is ultra processed because of the enriched flour bleach and everything that is manufactured, with multiple industrial ingredients, chemical additives, etc. Right? So that's an ultra processed. It's got wheat as a known allergen. It's not gluten free. So looks like the agent's working on these ones on that particular example. You can go through and look at other other examples to see that it's meeting your needs. And once it is, we can actually use this agent really easily now, right? So we click the use button. We can extract data interactively We can create an ETL pipeline to use this endpoint, or we can open the agent in a test playground to play with it. One thing you can do once you have enough data sets for the agent is actually create an optimized agent that runs much faster, has better quality, and is much cheaper to operate, right? We're using foundational models with prompting on as the baseline, right? So you can see the throughput is not as high and things like that. But once you customize, spend some time to build up a quorum of data to optimize an agent, we can actually make that much more efficient. All right, so now we'll create an ETL pipeline off of this data, and this will generate a declarative pipeline in Databricks and the source code, right? So we can jump over to the source code, see what it's doing. We'll connect it to a compute context. All right, so we're going to create a table. I don't like that table name, so I'm going to give it um, a table in my catalog, silver images process. And we'll do some really light data engineering here, right? To pull out some of these responses that we saw in AgentBricks um, into their own columns, right? So I'm just going to cast these out into text or booleans. I also want to pull the path out and just use it as an artificial product ID. So I need to pull the path out of the subquery. And we have that now. We can start the pipeline. And what this will do is it'll run through the raw table here, and it will use AI query on our custom endpoint that we've created, which is another AI function that our SQL, that's supported in our SQL language, right? So it's going to point the input data to this AI endpoint, a serving endpoint that you can find over in model serving, and we're going to get this data out of it, right, from the results. All right, so now that this is done, we should be able to come over to the demo and see the resultant table with our process data. There we go. So the process data has shown up. You can see our agent response has all those fields that we created in AgentBricks, as well as the fields we wanted to pull out, such as product ID, the ingredient array, whether or not the product's gluten-free, any known allergens, and the ultra-processed classification from NOAA. Now that we have this data pulled out into this structured format, we can do things like create dashboards and Genie spaces on them, right? So what we'll do now is we'll just create a quick Genie space so that we can ask English questions to this data. So you can see this table. I haven't even prompted any description into this table yet, but based off the column names, Genie will do pretty well. I do want to give it a quick instruction because, if we're going to ask questions about like what products have specific ingredients, it'll just give us the product names back. We want to be able to actually see the ingredients list to validate that. So, when we're asking about a product containing an ingredient, we want to return that list of ingredients with the response, right? So now that we have that, we can say which, products contain peanuts. Now, the contextual reasoning here is, saying, okay, we're asking about which products contain peanuts, ingredients, or something that would be contained in the product. So it's going to go query the ingredients list and look for peanuts, right? All right. So, and then we can also say things like which products have sugar as an ingredient in the first 5 positions, right? This will, look at the weighting of ingredients. Ingredients are weighted by, if they're earlier in the ingredients list, they have a much higher concentration of that ingredient. And you can see here that it's going to give us like which products have sugar in the ingredients list in the first 5 positions, right? So sugar in this instance is in the fourth position. And then you can ask follow-up questions like, of these products, tell me about how processed they are, right? And Genie will now go and infer, about you asking about processed. Because you're asking about how processed something is, there's a column called ultra processed, and it will give you that information. Hopefully you can see how easy it is to take data from images, pull that textual data off those images, put them in a usable format, and ask English-based questions off of them with AgentBricks and AI/BI Genie. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or if you'd like to know more information. Thanks.